Uh, you're right. He's both smart and very, very much a lot of energy.
He said to me, I don't really think I'm that high energy during the stream. Um, and I'm like, I feel like I'm being gay. He's a great guy. Anyway, we're here to talk about male sexuality, heterosexuality. I added that without asking you, but I feel like that makes sense.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at because I think gay men talk about their sexuality all the time, and it's sort of celebrated for them to talk about their sexuality.
Yeah. If you're a heterosexual man and you want to be like slutty online and get attention, posting nudes or whatever, I have discovered people are going to tell you that, well, you gotta go gay, or you gotta lean into the gay stuff, or you gotta be trans. But like, so like the only way that a man is allowed to be like sexual is if he isn't heterosexual, if there's no outlet for heterosexual men.
I mean, or you have to be like super duper hyper masculine and not give a shit what other people think. Okay, give me one.
Not give a shit what other people think.
Uh, well, yeah, like you can be like a really unfortunate example would be like Andrew Tate, right? He was very openly sexual about stuff, but like I
Was
don't
he?
think anybody found it like comfortable. He talked about I think he sort of like talked about things adjacent to it. Maybe he wasn't as like openly sexual, but I think if you asked him about it, he would have been fine doing so. I just don't
I
think that
don't.
it's
I
going to
don't.
be something that applies to a lot of people.
I don't know. I feel like he wouldn't go right for it. Maybe he would, but I feel like genuinely, or generally, in most cases, I feel that if you are a heterosexual man and you express your sexuality, so like gay men, you can just be gay around other men, even if they're not gay. You can be a little bit gay. That can be a problem sometimes. Like sometimes gay men are a little bit too aggressive with
Thank
that.
you,
But I mean,
Portland.
generally it's kind of fine. And but like you can't be expressing that part of yourself as a heterosexual man around women, because women have to vet men and men have to take the risk. And so women will withhold their sexual attention sort of because they're constantly vetting. And I understand that dynamic. It's not like they're evil. Like they're hoisted into this position, I think. And it sucks to have to constantly vet and get all that attention all the time, and it sucks to have to take the risks all the time, just like the heterosexual men.
I think
But
so too. Yeah.
yeah,
I do also think that it's kind of difficult for women to be openly sexual, straight women as well, because like you're just gonna get labeled a whore. You're gonna get a lot of negative
yeah,
feedback if you're a straight person talking about sexuality. Women less so than men. There is like a growing newer idea where this can be celebrated too for women. Uh, but it seems like if you're a man and you like women, uh, like it's almost like it's abusive to even talk about your sexuality.
yeah. Like it's like there's it's I'm not like women are encouraged and allowed to talk about how they love sucking dick. Like you can be a woman and talk about that. I mean, there are in some circles you'll like super religious circles or something you'll get ostracized, but in modern progressive society you won't.
Yeah.
Um,
I
but
think that the idea that a
but
man
you
who
a
talks about
man
how much he
um,
loves eating pussy,
yes. Yes, that's what I was gonna say.
that's gonna be like people are gonna be like, like nobody needs to hear that. Nobody wanted to know that
Yeah.
you think that. Like, what the fuck? And for the
Or
record, I do.
you're not allowed to have like a nuanced like opinion about it. So I think you're allowed to say I like eating pussy, but like this is my opinion, and this like I was talking to some people and they're like incredibly uncomfortable now. They've teased me about it multiple times. But what I said was I enjoy eating pussy for 15 minutes, and then I needs to be done. And I think if that's probably most people, that's why the alphabet is a thing. You know what I mean? Like, so Uh, but that's like the same opinion that women have about sucking dick usually. Like if it goes longer than 15 minutes, I mean, it just needs to end, you know?
Yeah. Well, I guess I think about it like this. If I'm getting head from a woman, there's always like a timer in my head. I was like, all right, I either need to wrap this up or it's not going to be head. It's going to turn into sex. Like I have to decide which one we're going for here because I very much am on a time limit here.
Yeah.
Or otherwise, she's going to get sick of it, and then like I'm going to have to do something else.
Why would
If
you say that? What are you, gay? No, it's like because women can have these conversations, gay people can have these conversations, trans people can have these conversations, but just straight men can't. I mean, we are two straight men talking to each other, so it's gay in that sense. But um,
well, we're talking to
uh,
each other about it. Um, I see this as like a. So I think that the gay part is when there's when when you have two straight guys talking to each other and they're like sort of like chest puffy, you know what I mean?
hmm,
They're like there's like this like it's like a
sure,
sport to like compete in sexual stories, whereas you and I are sort of like in
yeah.
solidarity. It seems
I still think it's
less
kind of gay.
uh,
Where
inherently at least a
when
little bit, but I think that there's a less for lack of a better way to put it, it's less sexual to have the conversation in this context. Does that make sense?
maybe, but I think it's sexual. I think it is sexual. Um,
Uh or maybe it's there's less of like a I guess when I think about you seen the guy that Mr. Girl talked to and he kept telling him it's gay and the guy got really freaked out by it and
mhm.
looped on it. I feel like when that guy's talking about his stories, there's like a sexual competition to it, which feels a little bit more I guess it feels a little more gay to me because it's a little bit more uh like it's like an encouragement of like now you be sexual. Do you know what I
Yeah, yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah. I mean, that still exists in this dynamic, I think, but especially because considering the that we have established this as a topic to talk about. But um, something I experience with talking to women, like dirty talking with women, this is not common for people, but something I've experienced is like a woman will talk to me like, "Oh, you're gonna suck a dick," whatever, and she's telling me like, "Oh, like I'm gonna suck a dick or something." And I experience that as very heterosexual. And talking to a man about eating a pussy
Uh-huh.
is in the way that a woman talking to a man about sucking dick is heterosexual. I think a man talking to a man about eating pussy is gay.
Hmm. It might
Maybe.
be.
I don't
It
know.
might be. I think maybe it's a little bit obscure for me to think of it in those terms because for the most part because it's so uncommon and difficult for men to talk about their sexuality, like their heterosexuality. I have
Yeah.
mostly talked to a close gay friend of mine about like my heterosexuality because I know
Mm,
that there's no like the Olympics aren't about to start. You know what I mean? I can't.
mm,
I can talk about like a weird situation or a cool situation that had happened sexually, and he's not going to try to one up me because he doesn't
mm.
have any stories. His
Huh.
stories are like I have tasted cum in every manner possible, like refrigerated, like he's like shoots off this list, and this has no application to anything that I'm saying. So there's no like trying to like out sexualize the other person, which seems to be what happens
Mm,
when two guys talk about their sexuality. Which I think it makes it basically impossible for there to be an open, honest conversation about it because men don't want to talk openly about their sexuality towards women because, well, what if I'm weird or what if what I say is creepy? Or more importantly, what if this woman is a potential sexual partner and I
Well,
don't
yeah,
want to ruin this?
women gatekeep that. And that's by design, and it's not because they're evil, like I said before. Like recently, and I just talked to our relevant this morning about this topic of like the thing of like women in gyms, like, and they hate getting attention.
Hmm.
And my opinion is that um men have to, like I said a second ago, men have to take the risks. They have to take all the advances. They have to do this, and women don't. They just don't. They won't do it. They don't have to, but they have to do all the vetting, and both of those are horrible in their own way. And if like so, if you're in the gym and you're getting all sweaty, if you're in that position where your role in the dynamic there is to do the vetting, well, you're probably going to end up doing more vetting in that situation. And I don't think it's the men's fault. I think it's the dynamics fault. Um, yeah, I think that yeah, that's there's nothing wrong with a man shooting his shot and taking the L in a graceful way. Women just
Sure.
hate that they get it so much, and if they hate that, I think they should be. I think men need to be a little bit more selective, and women need to be more assertive, and we need to level it out. People say
I
that's impossible, but I don't think so.
I think men being more selective would probably be a big part of it because when every guy hits on every woman, at least that's how it feels to a lot of women. It gets exhausting. Like you don't want to hear them shoot their shot. Like you're just like get the fuck away from me. I've heard it like 13 times today. There's an idea that men will try to sleep with every woman that comes across their path, and there are some men that are like that. Um, but it happens to enough frequency to where I don't think it's wholly inappropriate for women to internally group all men into the same category that way. Like it's just this thing comes up where if I'm engaging with somebody and they're like, oh, why are you mad? And they're like, I'm not mad. Well, I was like, okay, well, like I know you well enough to where uh, e- every time that you are mad, you behave this way. So like it's very confusing if you're not if this isn't what you're doing. So I think that women interact with men to where even if you're not trying to hit on me, like this feels extremely similar to every other time that I engage with men and they're trying to hit on me. So I have to assume that it is, regardless of what you're saying, because like I've learned these patterns. I recognize this
There's nothing
behavior.
wrong. I think there's nothing wrong with men hitting on women if they're willing to take the L. Um, it we've created a situation where now men are shamed for hitting on women because women are being encouraged to and allowed to express their discomfort with the dynamic. The fact that they have to constantly vet men, they constantly are the object and the ire of men or whatever, and they get all this attention from men that sucks, and they're able to express this publicly, this frustration and this, and they blame men. Um, that is so bullshit because men are not allowed to talk about how they hate this because if you hate going and getting the woman, well then just fucking learn you're pathetic, why don't you fucking get better at it? Well, you know what we should say to those women then, and not really, but if the if you want to have that equal response in the other direction, then you should tell women that are sick of vetting men at the gym, tell them to man the fuck up and get used to it, lady. But no, we should do it in the other direction. We should allow men to express their frustration, should allow women to express their frustration, and then find a happy middle ground rather than just, increasing pressure on both sides.
Well, I think that's fair. Um, I think that's why we get. Uh, I think that's why we fall into the scenarios than where we're at. I think that I really think that part of it, the reason why things are so different now, is that it seems like there's sort of agreed upon place for these things to happen, which would be dating apps, and that may not be the case
Mm,
for everybody. Well, I think that for a lot of times, women have like the bar and dating apps is sort of like this place where you're in a mindset where like I sort of expect this to happen here. Whereas I think that there isn't so much this idea that for men that dating apps are going to be the place where they meet women because it is a lot more difficult for men to meet women on dating apps. So they think of the outside world as more of a place to like engage with women in a more real conversation about like a conversation like where they're seeking where they're going to be hitting on women. I just told my wife yesterday that I had a really good idea. They should make a dating app for people that are weird. Uh, where like you know how like you've been on dating apps, right? You see the
yeah,
like
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
pictures like when I say dating app pictures, you can all like I think you automatically like see in your head like this professional photographer picture of like a blonde woman who's like just got done working out, and like everybody's hair is perfect. Everybody looks like a
Golden
movie star on their dating apps.
golden retriever people. There's
Yeah,
golden retriever men and there's golden retriever women, and they all look the same.
yeah, and these are the people that do really well on dating apps. And I feel like there's a lot of people who are just sort of put off by this. When
Yeah,
I see, I always describe it when I'm on a dating app like, oh, you're way too pretty. No, like you're I don't believe that you're a genuine person. What you're projecting on here isn't real. Like you're presenting yourself in like,
you could be a bot.
yeah,
But like, but not only that, but I just when I match with those women, it's just like I'll say something interesting, and they'll be like off put that it actually was interesting. They'll be like, "What? What? I thought you were just gonna say like, didn't you fall from heaven?" I didn't. I wasn't ready for you to say that. Oh my God. I don't know what to say. Yeah, but I have a lot of success on dating apps with women that weren't dropped in their head more than 3 times. But yeah,
I have had remarkable success on dating apps, but there was like a learning curve, and uh, I don't have like a lot of like traditionally attractive features, but I know how to talk. So if there's somebody who's willing to talk, they actually wants to engage in conversation, I can be very successful there. As an experiment, I created two different dating apps where I took a picture of a woman that I found like a sex bot picture that I found online, and I used that. And like I gotta say, um, if you if you are a guy and you're frustrated with how women act on dating apps, you should probably stop talking to women the way you do. I had 99 people like this account within like a day, and it was the most aggressive and like cringy, gross,
but
fucked
that's what
up
I do.
stuff.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
that's what I do. Yeah, that's absolutely what I do. And so but the thing but I was saying about like a very very normie girl, the most aggressive, cringy, fucked up stuff. She can be like, whoa, whoa, whoa. But she'll like it, but she'd be like, I can't believe you did that. Like, and it's yeah, I get maybe yeah, but yeah, I start off generally. I start off with a little bit of shock because you have to stand out as a man. Women are getting tons of fucking messages, and if you, especially if you find her attractive, chances are other people find her attractive,
yeah.
and she's getting tons of fucking messages, and you got to stand out, and so you have to say something creative, interesting, funny, shocking, whatever. You say something depraved, and then after that, I say like I go right into like a normal conversation for a bit, asks about some questions about them, tell them a little bit about myself. So after we've already established immediately, we in order for this conversation to have happened, we have to be horny for each other because otherwise we wouldn't be talking. But then right into normal conversation, get to know each other, and then right after that, right into a meeting because you have to strike while the iron's hot, or else they'll get horny for someone else. And that's the formula I go by. Um, I I don't talk about that quite a lot because I don't know. I think it's just how it's gotta work with the fucking dating apps. You have to do that fucking formula, in my opinion. And it's such a shitty way to meet people, honestly. Um, yeah, and you don't end up really knowing enough about people. It's just not great. Um, the thing is, men are ostracized from hitting on women in any other context. Like where I think it would be more appropriate or more healthy, like at the
Uh-huh.
gym, you know. But like, yeah, I mean, it's hard to hit on a woman at the gym and succeed. But that's probably a good place. Uh, honestly, grocery store. On the fucking side of the road. Um,
Yeah, I think it's I think in real life it's a lot easier to make a genuine connection. I think I met somebody who was super interested in me, and I have a lot of luck meeting women that are interested in me when I go to the gas station. The gas
mm,
station seems to be like the place. and particularly the women that work at gas stations. I met one woman. I kind of made it clear that I wasn't interested in that, but like I would be her friend, and she came with me to get a tattoo done. So I'd rather have people that I don't really care about their opinion. That way I can be weak
Mm,
and bitch about it hurting. Because I get like bigger tattoos. When I get
mm,
tattoos, I tend to get like bigger pieces. And when if it's like my wife or my friends, I'm like trying to be strong. I'm like, no, I just want to be like, this fucking sucks. This really hurts. Like, can you hold my hand? And there's if
mhm,
it's my wife, I kind of there's like this internal like I want to be more stoic, I guess. Or
mm.
even if it's my friend, I don't want to be like pussying out. But like yeah, gas stations, there's like no expectations on either side. You're just going in there to get your shit and get out. So I think it's a lot easier for people to be themselves. When you're in a dating app, I think that there's
Yeah.
like an expectation for you to be very much like your representative. But I don't like to be
Yeah.
like fake like that.
Yeah, and you just
Portland
it's
says
like
he thinks that we should stop approaching women at gyms. He hates that it's treated like a
mhm.
social marketplace.
It's really hard to hit on women at gyms. Um, I think that you should, and yeah, you should. It's hard. Uh,
Why is it hard? Because of, like that's where they're doing their thing and they're looking really good, and it's like, I think that
everybody's focused at the gym. So at the gym, if you got your routine you're doing, there's only a few contexts you can talk to someone. One of those contexts is you're squeaking your toy. I mean, your but
sorry, my dog's
so,
going
so
nuts in
like
the other room.
um so so someone needs some of the weights you're using and you share them. That's a like now you're bonding, you're talking. Um, just walking up to someone and just saying like the videos that you see they don't even look that bad, but they're just not good. This is the best time for me that I've ever done it. So like we're on the treadmills and sexy back came on, like I'm bringing sexy back, and in the background he goes yeah, I'm bringing sexy back, yeah, and every time he said yeah, I just went yeah, and then and then other people started going yeah. And that's how you make friends at the gym, I think. Like the whole oh well spot for you thing. No, you have to kind of break the tension in a really or like a you have to just be vulnerable. Being vulnerable, that's what it is. Being vulnerable while at the gym is hard actually. That's what people are failing at. They're trying, oh, I'm going to help someone else. That's how I'm going to get to know them. No, you have to be vulnerable. So, cuz when you're talking about being at the gas station, you're already fucking vulnerable. You're fucking getting fucked. But and you're talking and what you just your story was incredible. Talking about like, getting a tattoo and being able to express like your pain and your, like that's very vulnerable. That's a great way
Yes,
to get to know
and
someone and meet someone. Um,
yeah,
and yeah,
you
so
got
I
a
would
tattoo
say
on a Tinder date, yeah,
I got two of them on on Tinder dates.
yeah. So
Yeah.
that is a good place to be vulnerable. And that's why I called the woman that I met at the gas station. Hey, do you want to come with me to get my tattoo? And then I went with her when
Yeah.
she got a tattoo, and she brought her friend who was like he's a super weird guy like me. And at one point, she was like, "I wish I didn't invite the both of you. You're both just talking about weird nerdy shit, and I don't even know what's going on. And I'm just over here getting a tattoo done. She got a big spider on her cleavage, and we're just like talking about like I don't know, like comic books or like magic or something."
Hmm.
I don't think that I think that we sort of failed her expectations. So I'm
Yeah.
not going to say sway Smeth on his gym pervert predilection. LOL. It's all good. Um,
It's not a great place, honestly. But the people going to the gym are all gonna be hot because they're all working out.
I
Like
think
even if like just being in that context makes you more sexier. Just like no matter who you are,
yeah. I was gonna say I
you know.
think that being in the gym
Yeah,
is a little bit sexual in and of itself.
yeah. But
You're forming
so
your body.
we all know that men in the fucking locker rooms at like the fucking YMCA, they're fucking disgusting. They're looking at each other's dicks. They're fucking flashing each other. Just like you see these old men just won't stop. They want to fucking flash you. They just put their leg up. So you can be really, really gay at the gym. You just can't be heterosexual at the gym. and that's because this guarded, unhealthy dynamic between men and women that's very lopsided. And like I said earlier and a second ago, I don't want to say this a million times. It's because women, rightfully so, are being enabled to express their frustration with their place in the dynamic, and in them being able to vent their frustration in that, being the vetters, the selectors, the people who are saying like yes, no, you all the time, getting all this attention, and men not being able to vent their frustration, that gives them so much more power because now they can tell men it's all your fault. You need to fix this. You need to do this better. You need to do this better. You know what? No, I need to do this better, and you do that better. We both need to fucking work on this. It's not just me. You know, I'm just trying to fucking shoot my shot. I just wanted to see if you wanted to hang out, and that you don't, so I'm gonna leave. Okay, I'll leave you the fuck alone. That's all. Like that's the role I was given. I'm doing it right. What are you
Uh,
gonna isolate me just to Tinder? Nothing else?
I think that the bar is like a really common place.
A bar?
Yeah, but I think that
Uh,
I never liked going to the bar because like if I wanted to drink, it's just so expensive place. It's such an expensive place to drink. But then I sort of realized as I got older, like people don't go to the bar to drink; they go to the bar to socialize with people. This is a social
I've
atmosphere.
never been to a bar like that.
Um, this wasn't like a sexual thing, but I used to go to this bar after I worked to like eat and drink because where I was
Mhm.
staying it wasn't very like acceptable for me to like drink. People there were sensitive about alcohol, but like when you work labor, sometimes you want to have a couple of drinks to make the fucking muscles not hurt. And
Mhm. Okay.
so I'd go there, and I had a meme that went viral. 4chan shared it on Facebook, and there was like a group of people my age, and everybody else was like way the fuck older. So I was like, hey, I don't know you guys, but like I don't have anybody to tell this to. And I was like, I just had this meme went like crazy viral, and like I'm super happy about it. And those people end up becoming like really good friends of mine. So there's like a
Mhm.
social element to the bar, but if you're a younger person, I feel like you're probably not going to see a lot of people your age at the bar. So it's like there is this place that's sort of like ideally there, but if you're in your 20s, it's going to be a bad place to meet people. Sorry, sorry to
Bad
meet
place to
people.
what?
It's going to be a bad place to meet people
Yeah.
because that's not like I think young people go to the club and like I'm never going to go to the club ever.
Dude, fuck clubs, fuck bars, fuck. I don't like drinking in the first place, but um, I've met some people at bars, but I've met like bikers that I gotten into fights with at bars, but um,
Portland has advice
uh,
for you. He says, don't go to the
what?
gym to try to meet people. That is not a good look. However, if you are in a situation where organic interaction creates an opening, you shouldn't not shoot your shot because you're at the gym.
I'm not saying to go to the gym to hit on people. I'm just saying it's a good place to be open-minded to that happening. If you go there to do it, it's going to be hard, really hard. I think I agree with Portland. Um, but like I
Yeah.
don't think the bar is a good place. I don't think the bar is a good place. I don't like drinking, but and like to have to rely on alcohol to lower everybody's inhibitions so you can fucking make friends and shit. What the fuck? And that you got that, and you got Tinder, and you got like fucking other places where you drink.
Yeah, well, I
Uh,
think when I say that it's like the
Church,
place, I think it's the expected place. Like, there's an expectation there that when you go to the
gas
bar,
station, gas station, grocery store, the gym. Even though they hate it. The women are talk complaining of like the 0.001% of women that are influencers and want to film you and make you embarrassed on the internet. Those women really fucking hate it. Um, but most women actually like getting the attention. It's the women that get all of this attention, like tons and tons and tons of fucking attention.
they
Um,
hate it.
there's tons of women that don't get any attention,
Yeah.
and they really want it because, like I said, they're in that vetting role, and they weren't taught to be able to go to approach men, and if they do, they're real brave. And if they fail, it's going to be hard for them to do it again because they haven't learned the social skills to do that. They just weren't lauded into that. I think we should teach women those skills, but those women are just like, please, please, I need attention. You know what I mean? And so it's almost like these women that are just like sick of getting constant attention. I guess I understand that that sucks, but like also like that's a privilege too. That you're thriving in the role you were given. In and yes, it sucks. That role sucks. Both roles suck, but you're thriving in it.
Um, sure. Well, I think that you can be in a good spot, just sort of by luck, and still not like or want it to. However, I think we're getting like really focused on where women are at. Where I'm interested in this conversation because there's a lot of men that talk about like how they don't want to. How they're uncomfortable talking to women in the gym because women get like shitty with them or whatever, although they feel like they
Hmm.
should. Where where do you want to be able to like you said a grocery store, um is that like a comfortable spot for you? Where do you wish
No.
that you could be more openly
Um,
sexual at the most?
openly sexual.
Yeah.
Well, um, I wouldn't say publicly openly sexual in like a IRL setting. I I mean I could get my rocks off on that, but I have morals, you know.
Sure.
But um I think if you're a straight man, just take a page because what you want, this is what I think we're saying here. Straight men like you and me, what we're talking about, we want to be able to be objectified in sexual way.
Sure.
And you're gonna have to take some of the pages out of a woman's playbook to do that. And people are gonna call you gay. People are gonna say people will be like freaked out and be like, I think they're just like you're a pervert or something. Fucking post nudes if you fucking want it to be an object. Do it. Um,
So
it comes with downsides, but you can dress a little skimpier too if you want. You're allowed to, and it doesn't make you gay.
there's I'm gonna tell you a story. I way back in the day, I put a nude in like a publicy kind of forum where people do this, and I lived in a small town, and it sort of got out. And I've never I think maybe like once when I was 19 did I ever send a dick pic to anybody, and I had express permission. I don't really like I would never send one without like express like asking
I
for
know.
one. I that freaks me out a lot. But I put one in sort of like a public form, and then a lot of people saw it. And this is something that I almost never talk about publicly because it's super weird. But
You sure? You sure you want to?
yeah, yeah. Well, that's the whole point
Okay.
of this conversation,
Okay. Okay.
is so that
Okay.
we can be open and
Okay.
honest about it. Is that I I have I'm pretty proud of the size of my genitals, so I put it on there,
Mm,
and I wanted to get some feedback from it, and it just happened to be that like everybody then fucking sees it because it's a smaller area, and I would run
mm,
into people, both men and women, who would just talk to me about it, and it got really weird for me. Like I had
mm,
uh, a lot of my friends have this mutual friend of mine, and yeah, he's bisexual, and like whenever I talk to him, he just starts talking to me about my dick. And I was like, it's really weird because like he does music and stuff. And I want to talk to him about his music, and he talked to me about it. So I talked to my friend Ashley, who's a mutual friend of ours, and I was like, uh, whenever I run into this guy, like he always talks to me about my dick, and I don't like it because I just want to talk to him about normal stuff, and he just does it. And she goes, I've talked to him about this too. She's like, I know, and everybody knows that that's just how he is when he's around you. And he told me, he's like, I'll see him and I'll be ready to talk about something else, and it'll just come out like verbal diarrhea. It's like, okay, well, like I don't know how to deal with that, and I wonder if that's how women feel when they try to interact with men and they just start hitting on them instead of talking to them about whatever they're trying to talk about.
yeah. Um, yeah, I've been on both sides of that. For sure. I mean, you've probably done it too on the other side too. Um,
Oh,
and
almost
that's why you
certainly.
probably, yeah, yeah, that's why you probably don't want to send anything without permission. Um,
The reason why dick pics freak me out is because I've seen a lot of women just like go like, oh, that's that guy's dick. Like they'll just be like they'll just receive them, and I've seen in like in real time like the discomfort. Like I didn't ask for this penis. Why is this penis
yeah, I know
here?
that's just stupid. And dick pics. First of all, dick pics suck. And like if a woman like sends you like a close up of her pussy, it's gonna look awful and it's gonna suck, and you're not gonna like you're gonna like I've had that happen to me, and it's like um okay like yeah, that's not how you do intimacy. Like that's not how you have the tattoo moment. Oh, I just want to cry in front of you. And it's just like, no, look at no.
Yeah,
Yeah,
some of
that's
my closer friends that have seen it too, like their comments is usually like, the fucking face you make in that picture is fucking terrible. It's like, yeah, I know. I had to focus really hard. It's
well,
very
has you had
hard.
your face in it. That's awesome. You should have your face in it.
Yeah, but I'm like this. My dick's very camera shy in it, so I had to like super focus. I was like, all right, I got it. So like I have the same picture from like 10 years ago because I can never get a new one because I'd always uh
Hmm.
it's very not sexy for me to take a nude. I always get very in my
Yeah.
head, and it's just like but I think too that like that's not even from me. I think that's
You
just I
know,
just start thinking about what everybody else thinks about the idea of you taking a nude.
no, this is I take nudes, and I have completely divorced myself of the pressure and desire to have a fucking boner for my fucking nudes. Um,
Oh.
at all. Like fuck that. I hate that fucking pressure that women put on me. And the women that are upset if you don't have a boner and shit. Bye bye. This is one of the places that men need to be more selective. Get rid of that shit. We need to make that go extinct from the sexual marketplace. If a woman it makes you feel ashamed for not getting hard, she should feel ashamed for being around at all, and she should get the fuck away. That's probably 90% of women. We men need to fucking take the initiative here, and maybe in like all it'll take is 5 years. I think this could catch on because I think men are fucking sick of it. It sucks, and it makes you get erectile dysfunction too. It's just awful. Someone in chat said meeting people through other friends is the only way. People who do cold approach strangers, people who cold approach strangers weird me out automatically. Stranger danger. I do not. So that means that the only people that can like people are people in like cliques with like friend groups that have like a lot of people and stuff. Then you're gonna end up in a situation like we have now where there's more and more and more and more lonely men who are isolated and losers, you know. And if that was the case, I'd be a loser. I have to go out. I have to. I have to fucking expose myself. Not really with dick pics or anything, but
I think maybe when I was younger I'd have a better shot at that, but like I'm older, I'm overweight. Like I feel like if I don't have a boner, that's all I really got going for me, man. That's that. It's like the only like wow factor I got. Like I shaved my beard. Some women like the beards, and I have long hair. Like my long hair is probably one of the few things, and my teeth aren't fucked up. Like I have pretty decent
mine
teeth.
are
Well, it's,
mine are fucked up.
yeah, yeah, but you have a lot of other things going for you that you can like highlight.
I okay, so in taking nudes of myself, I've learned something. When I was way skinnier, I would like sit like this and like your tummy crumples up,
Hmm.
and I would feel like I'm fat when I was skinnier, and I feel the same thing now, and that I felt then. And looking at those older pictures of myself and looking at new pictures of myself, I still felt the same way, but I realized that looking at the pictures, when I'm vulnerable like that and I'm confident and vulnerable at the same time, it doesn't matter how crumpled and fat my stomach looks. I look good. It's the vulnerability that's the sexy thing, I think. So even I think you're just ashamed of your body, but if you're vulnerable and confident about your body, like that's a winning combo. That's how I feel.
Well, you're not wrong, but I think that the shame mostly comes from the fact that I know I'm not doing anything for it. When I was how old are you?
29.
29. Oh, okay. You're not that much younger than me. When I was in like my even like my mid 20s, I worked out a lot. Like I know I don't look it, but I know like a fuck ton about working out. I used to work out with a guy who does strongman competitions now. That's who I learned with. And when I
Mhm.
didn't know something, he just had this like gigantic Arnold Schwarzenegger's like encyclopedia of bodybuilding. And if I asked him a question, instead of answering, he'd tell me to go to the book, and I'd learn from the book. And like, uh, you can have whatever feelings you want about Arnold Schwarzenegger. Guy knows a lot about fucking fitness.
Mhm.
And so that's where I learned. And I know I could be doing more, and I've just been lazy. So I think I'm mostly ashamed of my mindset to where it got me to here. So my body is just sort of a reflection of me like not keeping up with what I know I should be.
You don't need to. You should, but it's not. You should, but not to need to. You know, fuck that.
I
Just fucking
agree. I
have your.
shouldn't.
You shouldn't. You. It's good to work out, but also you shouldn't have. You shouldn't feel ugly.
Well, I'm fortunate that the two women that I'm with certainly don't ever make me feel ugly. I think it's more of an internal thing. But
Mhm.
I don't know. I maybe that's not even true too because I think that usually when I get matches on dating apps and stuff, I always think like, oh, they must think that my wife is really pretty. My wife is very good for women that like women and men.
How are you going to express your sexuality if you hate your own body?
I think I typically do it by focusing on the woman's body.
Well,
Or
then you're not
my
expressing your sexual. You're helping her express her sexuality.
true. And I think a lot of people fall into this. And I think that it kind of trains women to think that like that's what male sexuality is.
Yeah, yeah. I think
That
it
my
should be half
sexuality is
and
just an
half.
extension of hers.
Yeah.
And I agree too with that. I think that it's fucked up, and I don't like that. That's usually the approach that I go. And I think that makes I think it encourages women to be a lot more submissive too. So they're sort of like waiting for the prompt.
And it encourages men to be emotionally retarded.
Uh, I
Yeah.
do I do think that uh I think that I have like a pretty keen grasp on like I'm pretty emotionally mature. Um and
Yeah.
I can navigate these situations pretty well. Like I can know that like I'm not doing good by my to myself.
Mhm.
At least like I'm aware of it. It's just that these situations are hard because it seems like everybody's sort of trained bad. Everybody's trained badly. And so even
Yeah.
if you're aware of these things, it can be very difficult to sorry, I choked on my drink. It's really hard to navigate these situations where everybody is trained bad. It's like are you it's almost like if you want to change it, you have to like detrain the person that you're talking to be different in the moment.
Yeah. Hmm.
Do you run into that? Oh, sorry.
Hmm.
Do you run into that a lot?
Oh yeah. Uh, most most women I have to teach to fucking have agency whatsoever in the bedroom.
Yeah. Um,
Um, and I present myself in I can be both um the aggressor and I also objectify myself at the same time. I do the whole thing. I do everything. I will objectify them and myself at the same time, so they don't have to do shit. Uh, I make it so fucking easy on all these retarded people. Um, I will make you come and myself come, or I'll just not come. Uh, I'll do the whole thing. I'll do all the sexy parts. Um, I think the hard part is, and so you said we are focusing on women a lot, and I think if you're a heterosexual man and you want to be sexual, a lot of that's going to come from how women are treating you, and women, heterosexual women, don't want heterosexual men to be sexual. That's not the role that they
Yeah, if
got.
they're not sleeping with you, at least. Yeah.
Yeah. Because you're not allowed to unless we give you permission. And we only give you permission when you earn it. And yeah.
Um. Yeah, I think that's true, and I. It's kind of hard to balance the idea that like what you're saying is correct and true, and it's not right that it's like that. With the fact that the kinds of changes that need to be made, I think that these changes that need to be made are there as a result of the fact that women are often the target of sexual assault. I think that it's very
Yeah.
hard to inspire these kinds of changes in a world where men treat women like sexual objects to the like farthest extreme, to where they feel entitled to the point to where they're like assaulting women, and we're definitely at a point where we're hyper aggressive going after that, which is good, but at the same time, we also need to be able to allow for spaces to be created for heterosexual men to be sexual.
But
And
you're
it's just
putting
these
all
are
the
like
blame on
warring
men again.
ideas. No. I'm putting the blame on like
No,
everybody. I'm putting it on
no,
everybody.
yeah, but you're saying that it's hard for women to change when men for women to change when men are so sexually aggressive. But I'm saying that men are so sexually aggressive because women are so sexually selective, and women objectify themselves so that they can get the attention from men, so that they can be sexually selective. So I think women should objectify themselves less. Men should objectify themselves more. Those are two real easy things to do. It's really easy for a woman to fucking stop shaving her legs. It's really easy for a man to like just like feel sexy and just like be confident about it. I mean, maybe not easy, but it's just because obviously you said you have issues with it, but I mean, it's not it's you could do it. Fuck you. I believe in you. You can fucking feel sexy. That's all you fucking need. If you feel sexy and then the other woman like just stops like shaving her legs or whatever, like
Hmm.
you both did like a big step in the right direction.
Well, the
Um,
misunderstanding that we're having here is that I'm not saying the problem is that men sexually assault women, is which is causing the problem. What I'm saying is that we are so focused as a society on men sexually assaulting women, so that if you try to raise the subject of men being sexual, you're going to get a pushback from both sides of it. You're going to get men and women pushing back on it because the issues become so sensitive to everybody. I don't think that the fact that men do assault women is what's stopping men from being able to be hetero men from being sexual. It's just that there's such a hyper focus on the assault right now. Because like I don't think that there's any more or less degree of assault happening right now, unless we go like really far back, in which case it was basically all assault. It's I think that it's just that we're so focused on it that it makes this space extra hard to clear up, because you're going to get people. It doesn't matter what their gender is, shouting things that like you're just like contributing to the ideas of the abuser or whatever. You're going to get these
well,
sorts of things.
those people are uh okay. No matter what you say, if you want to make a change, you're gonna have people being like, no, 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 freaking out. Um, I have seen people change. I have seen I've flirted and I've been with women who have told me explicitly that they want to be the caretaker in the sexual relationship and they want me to do absolutely no caretaking whatsoever.
Hmm.
Um, and that is incredibly rare for women, but I've seen it. And and so I just know that it's possible. I know people can change. Yeah, sure, there are people with their head up their ass and they're just gonna focus on blaming men and not trying to actually change anything. Like you can just keep punishing men. You can keep telling men that there are less and less places that they're allowed to be like sexual. You can tell men that they have to relegate it all to you have to be drunk and you have to be on Tinder, and you can't be in a bar. You have to be in a bar on Tinder, looking at Tinder. You can't look at the woman in the eye. You have to look at Tinder, and the app like will sync up to the people in the bar. You look at it. You have to fucking drink a whole like fucking free shots. You have to message, and you have to look straight at it. And then as soon as she like give you like a cuckoo cuckoo, and you're like then you're like I can look at her. You can make it so that we put all these limitations on men, and you know we can restrain their libido even more than they already are, or we can change the dynamic which is causing the problem, in my opinion.
Um, yeah, I do think the dynamic needs to be changed. You pointed out something interesting. I know you're being hyperbolic, but there is a sense that like even looking is bad, which I think is kind of crazy. I've worked in IT for a long time, and I have to have people fill out forms, and a lot of times I'll make sure people are filling out the forms right because when they don't, it sort of fucks me. I remember the one time I was watching this woman fill out a form, and then she like put her hand over her chest, and I was just like, I wasn't even looking at your boobs. You've drawn my attention to them because you put your hand over them, but like, I think that they're always sort of being treated as though like you're a predator in public.
Yeah, yeah, and we get completely mixed messages about that. Um, like so, and there's so many times when I have in my youth, early 20s and stuff, I passed up on sure things and women that were absolutely interested in me, but because I was being so careful that I just absolutely like boned it. Like I remember like that reminded me of a woman. I was in my 20s. I was like 23. She was 23. We were in like a art gallery or something, and she was talking to me about like the placement of the art or something. And she was wearing like a mid-sized skirt, and she like squatted in front of me to talk to me.
Hmm.
And I could see up her skirt. And so me being like a good boy, I stood up and I moved and I squatted next to her. Um, And looking back though, she did it on purpose. And like I'm like what the like and I but I just I was so confident she hadn't. Um you'll get I think that with like this gym shit of like I've never talk to women at the gym.
Yeah.
It'll cause it's the kind of thing that's likely to cause an effect where like men just like have this movement of yeah, never talk to women in the gym ever, never even look at them in the gym. We need to be like really, and then 3 years from now we're gonna get a shit ton of TikToks from women being like, isn't it just so sexy when a man will give you attention at the gym? And we're gonna get this push and pull back and forth on the seesaw because women are just going to grab you by the neck and shake you back and forth and back and forth. It's all your fault that we have to live like this. It's your fault that we have to fucking vet all this shit. We have to take all of your attention. It's your fault. No, why don't you try to be like you do part of what I do and I'll do part of what you do. We'll do like half and half. Well, like we don't have to both be fucking slaves to a single part of this dynamic. Like, sure, it all is kind of embarrassing. It's like women cannot handle the rejection that men feel. Like the thing that they're complaining about is something that men have nightmares about. Like and you takes you years to get the courage to even do it, and then it takes you years to get get the understanding and social awareness to do it right without making a fucking fool of yourself. And this is the thing that women are telling men that they're disgusting for even trying to do.
Um, yeah, I think that to me, I think the worst thing in the entire world is to be called creepy by a woman.
Yeah,
Have you ever had a woman call you creepy before?
I've stopped caring.
Well, I'm just saying, like, has that ever happened to you before?
It was, yeah, I used to care when I was younger, but I've learned that there are women that, yes, it has happened to me, but there are women that, I've learned that the things that women will shame me for and call me creepy for are often the things that are beautiful about me. And it's just that I was too much for them or something. And because I've had enough positive reinforcement that I know I know what I got, and I'm not gonna fucking mute myself, and I'm not gonna like castrate myself just for some uh vanilla boring women that can't fucking put up with like ketchup because it's too spicy, you know?
Right. Um, so I I think that makes a lot of sense. I know that the general sexual dynamic between men and women is that the man is going to be like the dominant one and the woman is going to be the submissive one. I feel like there's basically no space whatsoever for men to be submissive, and I think that's really really weird. Um, like I think
Yeah.
that oh geez, I couldn't even tell you when the last time like in a sexual situation that I wasn't just sort of like expected to be the dominant person in a
Mhm.
sexual relationship. So like I'm very good at that. But over the last year and a half I realized like I think that sometimes I would like to not be, and it just seems like an impossible ask for most women to say like no, can you
This
actually take some charge here? Um
Yeah. Well, the thing is, all the ways that you're being told to market yourself to women, or like I always put things in terms of fucking marketing, and people hate it. Some people hate it, but the ways you're told to market yourself to women are as the dominant person, as the person seeking out, and they have to kind of submit or like or dismiss, like, but they're in that receiving, submissive, like responsive kind of role, and you have to be the aggressor, the actor, the one doing those things. So to be the one who engages in it and then's like, but wait, I'm engaging, but also I want you now to do it. Like, but like it's really a real weird place to be. And I think the true art in this is in marketing yourself in such a way that you can be a man and attract women who want to take you. Like, and that's hard. That's the I think I've been doing it. I've and Yeah,
um so like you're saying you have success with that?
yeah, yeah.
That's interesting. I think I've only
It,
ever come across it in like very like niche, like happenstance kind of scenarios that I couldn't really recreate. I had to leave one time. It was like 4 or 5 years ago. I had to go to the dispensary uh, to get weed for some of my friends and my wife because I had the card in Michigan. If you have the card, you could go. Now everybody can go. But anyways, I was about to leave. My girlfriend was like, "Hey, before you go, come here." And I thought she wanted to kiss and hug, and instead she pulled out my dick and like just sort of like gulped it 3 times. Like, "All right, you can go now." And I was like, "That's one of the sexiest things that's ever happened to me in my entire life."
yeah,
I was caught off guard. It was something that happened to me, and then like I just had to go and like deal with it. And that still like pops into my head all the time because it's always me that has to initiate everything, and I don't know. I don't know why it's so bizarre for something like that to happen.
mhm,
I think that we shame women for being sexual. Uh,
mhm, mhm.
Almost as often as we shame men for being sexual, but it happens in a much, much different way. Um, like for women,
Yeah,
for women, it's like we shame them for being sexual, and it's like it's not bad. What you did isn't bad. It's bad that you did it to where people can see it. And for men, it's just like you just fucking shouldn't.
I don't think we shame women for being sexual like to nearly the extent. I just think that we don't. So like women can go hit on men, and we're not going to
Oh yeah.
shame women for doing that. They can do it. It's just that women who try this, like these wonderful brave women who try this and get faced with some rejection, like that's considering the fact that women's experience is getting so much attention and they don't even have to do that. And then one time they fucking just get brave and they're like, you know what, I'm interested in this. I'm into this guy. I'm gonna fucking go try. And she gets rejection, and it's like, it's awful because obviously it's awful. And she's like, cool. Well, I guess that's not shame. That's just
Oh, I'm
that
talking about
comes
like
with it.
slut shaming.
I know, but I'm saying that's she's gonna experience it as shame because she's gonna be ashamed, but it comes with the territory of rejection. Um, Slut shaming, I think, yeah, sure, slut shaming. I honestly feel like we're at a time and place where if you apply for a job at most places, unless it's like the Quaker Oats like Puritan place, um and it comes up. Like, I think you could literally tell them that you were a successful OnlyFans person, and they would be like, "Oh, cool."
Hmm.
At
Maybe.
most places, like tech places, for sure, they'd be like, "Oh, cool, that's interesting." Um, um, well, yeah, I don't think I think, yeah, there's probably like some types of businesses that are so industries where that's not going to be helpful, but I think it's just
You're
but
probably right.
if you're a guy though, then it's going to be like you did what?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No,
I
get the
agree with
fuck
that.
out of here. Yeah, so yeah.
Um, I think it probably comes a lot from I think it's mostly sexist. It's that there's like an old idea that we have to protect women in general. Like they're not capable of making the decision. I think like if 10 years ago a woman said that like I actually have a very successful like porn website that I operate of and for myself, people would be like, "What the fuck? Like, are you like you're a crazy deviant? You should get out of here." And that would very much be the same if it was put onto men now. I do think that hmm, maybe you're right. Maybe the OnlyFans thing sort of changes my perspective on that because I don't doubt that at all. That that would be
It
like high
feels like
five
it's true.
worthy at the workplace. Yeah.
Yeah, 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 like it'd be like, wow, you're a go-getter or something like that, you know?
Yeah, yeah, like it's impressive that you're able to build something like that. But if a guy said that, it'd be like, what the fuck are you
What did you
doing?
do? You're fucking weirdo.
Yeah,
Uh,
I guess that's pretty bizarre. Um,
you're only allowed to be sexual as a man if you're absolute. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't. You're only allowed to be sexual as a man if you're. It can't be for women. It has to be for gays. You have to be trans.
um,
You know, there's something that's very interesting. I'm sorry if I'm interrupting you out of line of thought, but um, that I think about a lot about the sexuality of men, heterosexual men. Um, very, very on the topic. I think about trans men. That I see on like if you're posting like porn and stuff, and you are seeing around, you're gonna see like a lot. You're gonna see a lot of trans men that are posting porn. Like they get like hairy, and they're really proud of being like a man now, and they look a little bit manly, but they still have a vagina, and but they're like, I'm one of the guys, and I'm sexy. But that thing that to me that's like kind of pulls at my heartstrings. Like it makes me feel upset a little bit. I mean, I don't like resent them. I don't feel resentment, but it's like, but men can't do that. So the thing that you want to be, you don't actually want to be a man, because if you were actually like a man, you'd have to repress that, you know? Like so
part of the
like there's
experience of
no.
being a man in the modern world is repressing your sexuality and not being proud of it online.
Yes. So these trans men that start like OnlyFans and shit and are really really sexual, and they're extra horny because of the testosterone. They're like way hornier, and so they're just going fucking buck wild. They get to have best of both worlds.
That's true. They get to present their sexuality in the same way that a woman does, without
Yeah, but
having
then
any
kind of
of
be
the shame that a
manly.
man has.
Yeah.
Well, without having any of the shaming, sorry, that a man gets for
Yeah.
doing it. Um, and you've said before that like you're trying to change it. What are you doing to try to change that?
I am I've been talking to flirting with a woman that is very aggressive. She told me that she just wants to, like I said earlier, she wants to be the caretaker, and
Hmm?
she wants me to do none of that. And I've just gotten some attention. Um, and I think it is in the art of how you present yourself. I don't think you can go through the traditional avenue of being the one who seeks out women. If you want to be sexual in that way, you can't just seek out women and then tell them how to treat you. I think you gotta tell women how to treat you and let them seek you out.
Is
And
is this an
that's
older woman?
hard. Nope, same age.
That's really surprising. Um, yeah, that's really really surprising to me. Wow. Uh, that's really interesting.
Yeah, but
I think uh a
in
lot of
doing
this
that, sorry.
women don't know
uh,
what they want often when it comes to sexual situations. There's not a lot of like
Right.
talking or training about that.
Yeah.
Especially growing up, the first girlfriends that I had, like my first handful of sexual encounters with, they had no idea. Like they didn't know how to masturbate. They didn't know really like what they wanted or what they
Mhm.
liked. There was like there had to be like a lot of experimentation for them to figure out even like oh yeah I do like this or no I don't like that.
Yeah.
They didn't know because
So
just think they're discouraged from exploring it.
my
it.
my success has only been in attracting women that already know what they want. But my dream is to awaken in women that don't know what they want to actually like I want to awaken them to be like, that's what I want. I'm going to go for it because that's what I want. I feel like a lot of gay men have this fantasy about converting straight men into gay. Um Yeah, it's absolutely a thing. But I want to convert sexually repressed women or sexually withholding women into being aggressive because just by virtue of marketing myself in such a way that they're like, I need that, I'm gonna go get it. That 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 is my dream vision, and it's probably just fucking a porn fantasy. Um, but you can market yourself to women that know what they want.
Do you think that well I mean you can just disagree with me. I'm going to make a statement first. We don't give any information to younger people like late teens, young adults. They don't really get any
Mhm.
information or encouragement to explore their sexuality. They don't get any information about exploring their
Mhm.
sexuality, and we don't encourage it or anything like that. We just sort of pretend like it isn't happening. But when it comes to guys, we just pretend like they're not doing it. When it comes to
Yeah,
girls, we tell them that they shouldn't be doing it as a society. So I think
yeah,
that guys figure out what they want, kind of. They have an idea of what they want, and then they have to experiment to figure it out. And then women have to find guys who kind of know what they want, and then experiment with that person. So we just have like a lot of people who just don't have a fucking clue.
yeah,
And then when women have bad experiences with that, there's a lot of people who are there to tell them that something bad happened because they're trying to figure shit out and it
yeah.
was something they didn't like. But if a guy's trying to figure something out and they didn't like it, well, it's just like, well, whatever. We don't give a fuck.
Yeah, you're a piece of shit. You did what? Um, and if you don't learn if you don't make these mistakes early on, and you don't learn these lessons from trial and error and failure
Hmm.
because nobody taught you, and you make these mistakes later on in life, good luck holding a job because you're a predator. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like so, yeah. And
I
we
think
tell men not what not to do, and we tell women what men shouldn't do. More and more things that men shouldn't do. We don't tell any of them what to do.
there is no real like sex education. What we call sex education in the United States is explaining to people how pregnancy works and how to prevent
Yeah,
it, and that's about it.
but we don't
That's
even do a good enough job of that,
just true.
honestly.
We don't. It's that even that's not very good. But we don't have anybody. There's nothing that actually educates people on how to have sex well, how to figure out what you want, how to figure out what
Yeah,
other people want, how to negotiate these situations. None of that exists at all. At all. So I think a lot of
yeah.
people are just sort of left in the dark because
There
people
should
are
be
uncomfortable
more
talking about it.
there should be more education on on exactly how to where the sensitive parts are in like both sets of genitals and where stimulation occurs. Like It took a lot of just poking and prodding to figure out where my dick is most sensitive. I would assume it's probably different if I'm circumcised. I would be assume it's different if you are uncircumcised. I couldn't tell one of those people where it's going to feel best for them. And yeah, for women, it wasn't until like 2 years ago where I actually looked at like a diagram of like where the clitoral apparatus actually is, and I had a general understanding, but like there is no like G spot. Like that's not like a real thing in the vagina. Um, it like
Um,
it's just kind of vague. It's a vague kind of like, oh, well, you hit their spot, but that's not really how it works. If you kind of understand how it works, then it'll help you a lot. But we don't even tell people that.
my understanding is just that it's just far back.
No. The clit
Well, I know where the clit
is
is. Let's be clear.
okay. No, no, no. Okay, there's clit is the tip of the iceberg, and
Mm.
it goes out, and there are two like things that go down the sides, but then there are like these like sacs that go down around the opening of the vagina, and that's where the vaginal orgasm is going to come from, the stimulation to those. And the clit is going to be the clit is the tip of the clit's actually called the glans, just like the tip of the penis. Um, but yeah, there's no G spot though. To hit the
Um,
G spot, you're gonna have to push against all the other shit. But like they're like so like but they're actually in there is no actual G spot. It's just it's just like use a lot of force and get in there and hit hard, and you're yeah, sure you're probably gonna, like, but like it's just wrong.
what do you mean it's wrong?
There is no G spot. That the clit is all like front loaded.
Uh, yeah, the clit is all front loaded.
Yeah,
Um,
but like yeah.
yeah, I think that so I guess because this doesn't get talked about a lot. When I growing up, I always assumed that men were very concerned about making sure the woman had a good time. And so that's what I was always concerned about. And talking to women, it seems like that's very, very much not the case. Did you have any expectation of that when you were growing up?
Of expecting to give a woman a good time.
Yeah, that was like the general thing that men strove for.
Yeah, so much so that it ultimately completely perverted my sense of what sex is, such that my optimal idea of pleasure is total denial. So yeah, I've definitely experienced that to an extreme and internalized it quite a bit.
Yeah, me too. And I found out later that most of the time guys just don't really give a shit. They're just like uh very much focused on themselves, and then they dip. And I was just like,
Mm,
I had no idea that this was the general expectation that women have of men,
yeah,
because that's what's happening. I think growing up there was a lot of uh I guess it came from me, but it was my ideas about how things worked that it was very, very, very important to be good at sex, like extremely important.
yeah,
Whether
yeah.
that came from like you had to have like a bunch of knowledge about what to do, you had to have like a huge penis. I had a friend who was like had a crippling fear of having a small dick, to where like he was like saving for penis enlargement surgery. And eventually I just made my ex-wife, I was just like, you know what, can you just like tell him if he has a small dick or not, so that he'll stop talking to me about it? Because it's like every day. And she's like, hey man, you're fine. He showed her, she's like, you're fine, you have nothing to worry about. And he was just like, that's cool, she was being nice. I still have to save up for the surgery. I think it
Mm,
for some people, I think it just like ruins their brain.
yeah, it's so because it's such a central part of your life and
Yeah.
experience as a living thing, and a lot of your psychology stems from that. Um,
Yes, yes, it does. And
yeah,
it particularly bothers me that we don't talk about the expectations that just sort of get put onto men as they're growing up in their teenage years, that if you're not good at sex, like you're gonna be a failure. I was extremely worried about being bad at it. As a result, I didn't lose my virginity until I was 17, and I realized that
I didn't lose it. Wait till way later. I was like 23, 22.
any particular reason.
Um, for me, it wasn't. I just didn't know what the fuck I was doing with women. Nobody taught me how to talk to women. Like I got hit on by women,
Mhm.
uh, but like I didn't know how to respond, and I just like multiple times I got like many times I got like hit on by women, but I would just chase women that weren't interested in me at all, and women that I thought were attractive would hit on me, and I'd be like, oh, that's great, and then I'd just fuck it up like immediately, and like return to hitting on women that had no interest in me. Um, and I learned like yeah, there was no help there whatsoever.
Yeah, I reflected back. There was my friend's sister wanted me to teach her how to play Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and I realized like as an adult, I was like, wait a minute, she never gave a fuck about learning how to play this card game. She was into me, and it took
Yeah,
me
there was a
like
lot of
15
those.
years later to realize like, of course she didn't care about how to play this card game. She was willing to sit down and have me explain this fucking nerdy card game to her because she was interested
Yeah.
in me. And it after like 4 or 5 times of doing that, she realized I wasn't getting it and then moved on. I was like, I wonder why
Yep.
she stopped learning. She never really ended up playing. I wonder what was up with that. Like, oh,
Here's the
she
thing.
didn't give a fuck
Don't
about the
blame yourself.
cards.
Don't blame yourself. Blame her. You know what? She pussied out. She pussied out because you weren't getting it. She should have fucking shot her shot. She should have fucking shot her shot. It's her fault that you've missed out. You know?
Uh, yeah,
She
yeah.
knew
I
what
wish
she
she would have been
wanted.
a lot more upfront. And looking back now, I could be like, it was so obvious. There was one time we were like literally in her room. I was explaining it like on her bed. Like I was in her bed explaining how to do it. Like that's how like
Yeah.
how much she was interested and not willing to just say like, hey, I'm interested.
Yeah, there was also like a lot of competition from other guys. It's like so it was also like kind of like so I remember memory that kind of reminds me of what you said. But it has like a extra layer of drama and backstabbing. So there was this girl I had a really strong crush on, and it was because she kind of was into me too. And I remember like I saw like the way she was like dancing, she like moved her fingers like in a way, and I was like, wow, she moved her fingers like that. I like that a lot. And I told some of my friends that I was gonna ask her out at this one like party thing, and somehow she definitely found out because at this event she came over to me. She's like, do you want to talk about something?" Or is that so she fucking knew, and it was obvious to me immediately, like she knows. But it was just so many people there, and it wasn't a good like setting, and I just didn't know how to emotionally handle that, and I didn't really know what I was doing, like what was I gonna say. Asking out isn't even a thing. Asking out is like it's like you're just like ask you're just it's just be intimate with someone. If there's no asking out, it's really the asking out is awkward if that's what you're doing. Just be intimate.
Yeah.
So I flubbed it and I was like, oh, it's just too much people here. And I knew I was flubbing it and she knew I was flubbing it when I did it. A week later, a close friend of mine, turns out he's been dating her for a week. So
Oh.
I had told him that I was gonna ask her out. He didn't tell me that he went behind my back and he asked her out behind my and he never told me. And I'd seen him every day, but of that week, and he had never told me.
uh, why?
Um, I don't know.
Huh. Uh, that's kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
And you sort of yeah, yeah, that's really weird. I had a weird encounter where I didn't realize it right away, but like right after she left, I was like, this chick like hit on me harder than anybody, and I told my friend about it. And he was like, "Oh, are you sure it was her?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's her." And then like he describes like, "Yeah, it's her." He goes, "You mean like this guy's fiance?" And I was like, what?" It was a mutual friend of ours, and I was like, yeah." Um,
Hmm.
so I feel like I was in a similar situation, but at least the person I was talking to had the decency to tell me that there was that there was already something going on there. Um,
Mm.
I think it would have been a lot worse had somebody not said something to me. Uh, are you still friends with that person?
No,
Good, good.
no, absolutely. Um, I had talked to her for quite a while, but eventually stopped because it was like she ended up like breaking up with him eventually, and then she became like religious or something. Yeah.
Oh,
And it's a long story,
sure.
but I have another one. How do you feel about me? One, I have another one. Is this gay men one upping or what ship or whatever?
No, this was me trying to let you know that I feel like I've been in the same boat.
All right, I'm just
Um,
dumping out these stories. Hopefully, these will be helpful for someone. Another one I have, per senior prom, like one of like the really hot girls was like, Seth, do you want to go to prom with me? Because I don't have, I want to go to I don't have anyone to go with, and I'd go with you. And like to my face. And I had already settled on I'm not going to prom. So I was like, oh, I'm not fucking going. And but this one wasn't like I was letting myself down. Like but I do kick myself about it. But like I genuinely didn't care. So I feel like such a Giga Chad for that one. I just did not give a fuck. But it's really funny because when I tell people about this, they're like, and I tell them who asked me out, they're like, no, she didn't. She went, yes, she did. But nobody believes me. Like, I get that a lot.
I did. I just didn't go. I didn't go to my own prom. I went to two proms that weren't mine. Uh,
Hmm.
I dropped out at 16 because I was religiously persecuted in school, and
Hmm.
so I wasn't
Satanism.
Christian. Yeah, because I was Satanist, and I was
Hmm.
in a very Christian school, and I dropped out and got my GED. Well, I took the test when I was 16. You can't get the degree until you're 18, so I got it in the mail when I was 18. And then I went to my wife's prom, and then I went to a friend of mine's prom. I went with her as her date. But I never had my own. I always thought school dances were stupid and cringy. Uh,
Yeah,
but
me
I
too.
may have thought that because it would have been difficult for me to get a date too. I didn't really figure any of this stuff out until I was an adult, and just like I think the social dynamic of school, where everybody else sort of in your business sort of stifles your ability to like have any kind of emotional maturity involving in dating and
Yeah.
sexuality.
Like I was telling you, I got attention, and I think I similarly just kind of didn't think I could get a date, but I fucking could get a date. I just I didn't know what the fuck I was doing, and nobody gave me any advice whatsoever. And not only did I fail, but I failed without knowing I failed so long without learning a single fucking thing. Someone in chat just shared something interesting. Um, they went to they were in UK art school. Was this a like high school or because I went to an art school which is predominantly women for college, but this person is saying uh I think they're talking about is this college or high school? Um, UK art school, mostly women. Their experience was that men were often and very casually, not just superficially, called fuckboys, but were judged for this behavior by the same colleagues of mine who slept around and would college, okay, who slept around and would probably have screamed bigotry at being called anything similar. I have the same experience.
Um,
And I did the same thing in college that I did in high school too. I got so many opportunities and women were interested and I just fucked it up. I didn't understand they were interested. And no, actually I did understand they were interested. Actually, I always understood they were interested. I just didn't know what the fuck I was doing and I didn't know how to accept it. Because I was supposed to be the one. This is the thing. I was taught that I was supposed to be the one seeking out the women. And so if like so I didn't learn that. And so like just like women don't learn how to go meet men and they didn't actually make it explicit. Um, you know, I wasn't taught how to say yes to anything. So yeah,
Yeah. You're supposed to pick up on clues, but the problem is that if you read the clues wrong, um, and you act on like the hints, then uh, you might end up kissing somebody who doesn't want to be kissed, and then it's like that's boy, what a bad situation if you're a younger guy. Uh, I feel like the anticipated blowback from that is clouds a lot of judgment. Um, and
yeah,
as an adult, I just kind of say like, hey, just so you know, I don't really like hints. I even if I think I'm getting them, I'm going to ignore them. You just if I'm not doing something you want, or you want something and I'm not doing it, you just got to tell me, because I just sort of expect that we're all going to be adults here, and I don't want to play what I call like high school games, because I feel like high school is
yeah.
kind of the place to be like a little uncomfortable and awkward and sort of flop around in your emotional relationships and sexual ones. Like that's your place to be awkward. But when you're in a when that shit carries over to adulthood, you're stunting yourself and the people you interact with big time.
I, I'm willing to make a fool of myself. I think that's what I learned is how to make a be willing to make a fool of myself. So all the way through art school, I didn't get laid a single time. And like this person just said, as one of the few guys in art school, you always get a lot of attention. I didn't take advantage of it too, uh, much because most of the people there were unbearable. For me, it wasn't necessarily, a lot of it was the unbearable, but also I got like stigmatized, like just like you said. And so then then there was like rumors about me at some point, and I think I guess this must be like common. And I I just did not know what I was doing. And then it took fucking Tinder for me to learn how to fucking hook up with people, and then I had to reverse engineer it. So Tinder put it fucking plain and simple for me. And then I had to reverse engineer Tinder to figure out how to fucking like flirt with people in real life.
Interesting. When you talk to somebody on Tinder, do you talk about the like your sexual interest, things that you are and are not into before you meet somebody?
I do not want to I've learned through trial and error, as I have, and most men have, what I've learned is that you in Tinder, you want to keep the sexual combo short. Then you have another combo. You want to have something that's not sexual, in my opinion. Then you can go back to the sexual combo and you can have like a big, like really horny conversation. And then that's when you have like a really weird, kinky hookup. Um,
I think
but
the first
I
two
try not to,
hours is a combination of those for me.
yes, yeah, that's basically what I'm saying.
Okay.
But I try not to I can if I'm gonna talk about my kinks, I could probably make it another. I could make it a month-long seminar. Um, so I try to limit it
So
to what
where's the
works.
seminar at, man? You need to be putting it out there. That's
It's out there.
if your mission
It's
is
out there. It's invitation only.
uh I understand where's seminar. Um yeah, I think I go I try to be about that pretty upfront, because I don't want to waste my time with somebody who can't talk about it. That's super important to me, is that if somebody can't, if I have to guess what somebody's
Mhm.
into, like that shit ain't happening for me. Nope.
Someone in chat just said something we have to respond to. So, as a female who was upfront with my feelings, I got rejected over and over and over. Guys were freaked out by it. I want to say from the experience of the guy who got, but it wasn't ever very upfront with me, except for prom. With me, it was always like obvious, but it wasn't explicit. And because I but I just there was women that I was interested in that were upfront with me, and it wasn't that I was freaked out. It generally wasn't that I was freaked out. I just didn't know I was like allowed to. I didn't know, like, I just didn't understand what was going on. I didn't even know how to hit on women myself. So I didn't know how to say yes to a woman hitting on me. It just seemed like an impossibility, you know? Like I didn't get it. Um, like if I said yes, I wouldn't know what to do with it because
Oh,
I didn't have those experiences. Um, I always felt like like me doing these things with women and flirting and stuff was something I'm not allowed to do until I was older. And like I was crossing some boundaries just by even being sexual whatsoever.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Um, I think that kind of died for me after I had sex for the first time. And after
right.
that, I already wasn't in school anymore. So it was just like it was a lot easier for me to pick up on things and then be flirty. Uh but when I was still in school and like wanted to be, it was just like no, no, this is always going to be inappropriate because you never get anything explicit. Like you said, it was explicit, but it was obvious, but it wasn't explicit. It's exactly what I
Mhm.
was talking about with the chick who wanted me to teach her how to play Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Like there's nothing more obvious. I've never had a more obvious scenario in my life. However, it just did not occur to me until I was older
Mhm.
because it wasn't explicit. Um, and I think that people don't want to be explicit because that's what puts them out there. Uh, but
If someone's not getting it, um, it's something you got to learn as a guy, I think. If someone's not get this is hard for guys. This is one of the really super high level flirting techniques. Because if someone's not getting it, either they're pretending not to get it because they want you to stop, or they actually don't get it and they might say yes, but they haven't gotten it yet. And you
yeah,
need to fucking go. So I've learned I don't even play that game. I just embarrass myself immediately. I just say like, look, I'm a fucking fool with my dick in the wind. You know, like and that's what I do.
um, well, yeah. Now I just think that after having so much life lived, I just feel like there's nothing that's gonna happen between me and somebody I'm interested in that's gonna be more embarrassing than I have like already experienced. So I don't really give a shit. I'd rather just not waste my time. But when you're younger, I feel like all you have is time to waste. And then if you fuck up, you're afraid that you're gonna spend a lot of that time that you could be wasting, worried about things that had already happened.
Yeah.
I think it's really good that you have that mentality. I wish more people had that because I have had a lot of my guy friends ask me for advice on like how to talk to women, and I can give them all the advice in the world, but they're still not going to take it. They still don't take it because they're still afraid of looking foolish or looking silly.
You know, there's also something I haven't said, which adds to the flavor of this story of me here. My sexual awakening happened basically 2016-ish, and that's the Me Too moment.
Oh,
So I only started being comfortable coming into myself in a time where I was also terrified, even more so, of crossing those boundaries. But so it would honestly have a lot of trauma from those mixed messages.
yeah, that'd be a really interesting time to really find yourself sexually. It seems like you're like, all right, I'm finally ready to go out into the world, and then the world's like, market's closed, bud. You need to fucking chill.
You need to fucking chill, yeah. But uh,
I could almost see that as a motivating factor then too. Like, well, if it's gonna be bad no matter what, I might as well just do what I think.
it wasn't. It's not like the Me Too movement was completely bad. It just came with a lot of like. So there's just constantly these messages of telling men that they're doing things wrong, and you can't flirt at the gym anymore. You can't flirt at the grocery store. You can't flirt at the gas station. You can't flirt anywhere. You have to be at the bar. You have to be on Tinder. Less, less, less. And everything you're doing is wrong. How dare you make anyone uncomfortable? Even if she feels uncomfortable in retrospect and that she wasn't uncomfortable at the time, it's all your fault. It's all your fucking fault, you piece of shit. And so, um, yeah, I was like terrified of women for that. And even in my most intimate times, I was like, you're also secretly my enemy and you might kill me. You know what I mean? Like you might fucking ruin my life. Uh
Uh, yeah. Yeah. I don't know if you're aware. I told a story on Advice and Confessions about uh I was drunk and I woke up and there was a woman on top of me. Do you remember that story at all?
No.
So it was one of the first times I drank in my life. There was like a big festival going on in my town, and it was like cheap rum, and it was daylight out, and somebody talked about there being fireworks later, and then all of a sudden I was upstairs at my buddy's house, and this chick was on top of me making out with me, and I'm not like fully like aware, and I thought it was like my girlfriend, because like I don't even know where the fuck I'm at, right? And I sort of realized that it's not her, like later on in the story, but like we're making out and like I kind of like try to make a move and like I put my hand in her pants. She's like, no. I was like, okay, that's fine. And like we're making out more and I like it like gets like heavier. You know, like when you're making out with a woman, like there's like levels and things like amp up. Like the
Yeah.
pushing and grabbing and stuff gets a little bit more aggressive. So I was like, oh, okay. And I went and I tried to go for it again. And she was like, no. And I was like, okay. And then yeah, like 2 minutes after that, it sort of clicked in my brain like this isn't her. Like I really can't see anything either. I was like, this isn't her. Something really weird is going on. And so I kind of just like, and not in a like aggressive way, like I like push her off of me so that I can get up and see what's going on. And I look to my left and my buddy's having sex with his girlfriend in his bed and I'm on his couch and I'm in his room like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah.
And then I see her and I was like, well, what the fuck is going on here? And I got really freaked out. And then I left. And
It's real wild.
and then the next day, my friend told me that the chick that was on top of me told her that I tried to rape her. And I was like, wait, what? That's not what happened at
I
all.
think I remember hearing that.
And her best friend who was there with us was like, hey, you need to stop saying that I was there. That's not what happened at all. Uh, and like that didn't come back on me at all, but like that really fucked up how like I like thought about interacting with women moving forward. And it bothered me for like a really, really long time. And actually talking to
Yeah.
Mr. Girl and talking to my therapist about it made me feel a lot better about that situation. So it was essentially where like I was in a situation where I was too drunk to know what was going on. Something bad happened to me, and I was made to feel like maybe I did something wrong. Even though I didn't feel like I did anything wrong, that like because she thought that or said that even that I had done something wrong.
Hmm.
And I think that really painted how much more careful I was with women in the future. And now too, like I think like 2 weeks later, my girlfriend tried to like mess with me while I was sleeping, and without being aware of it, like I threw her right off the bed. Like my defenses were up that strongly, to where I was like, "You cannot wake me up for sex. I am going to be very aggressive." Like my internal security amped up like super duper heavy,
Hmm.
and I don't think that it wasn't like around like the Me Too thing, but like as I got older and I seen that stuff happening, I was just like, I think that sort of informed me even more. I was like, well, maybe I did do something wrong by even trying then at all. Despite the fact
Hmm.
that the whole situation was very confusing for me, having like waking up into that and all that. But I think that where we're at right now, coming out of like Me Too and people being very aggressive towards men, I think it's just very confusing for it must be very confusing for young men to really have a clear understanding of what their role is, what they should be
Yeah.
doing, and what onus is on them to take responsibility for the interactions that are happening between two people. Because a lot of the messaging
Yeah.
is that it's always on the man. Everything that happens is the man's responsibility, and like
Yeah.
that can't be the case. It just can't
Yes.
be.
Yeah. 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 Like so. Yeah. The whole thing is orchestrated, conducted, and it's all the product of the man. Everything that happens. I that's just the opposite of empowering women in in reality. Uh, and that's not to say um like when men are learning less lessons, Like our solution is just to teach men less. Like
Yeah,
um Andrew Callahan, like I kind of have a mild resentment of your attitude, buddy, of always asking for permission from everything. But I understand. But it's just that um you're like being given like handicaps and shackles to like I'm fine without doing that. I ask permission for some things, and some times I just go for like body language and stuff. Um but don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. We're constantly told what all these things not to do. Don't be a sex pest. Don't push too far. But also we learn that we have these experiences where like women weren't explicit with us, and we actually should have pushed further. And we never know like we're just put in between a rock and a hard place. We don't know what we're doing. It's a constantly a state of terror, um, and we feel like we're monsters for being sexual at all.
yeah. Uh, I think it happens a lot, and I do generally practice threshold consent where I ask before I do the first thing ever. But I could imagine a scenario where I didn't have to. Uh, but if I'm being placed in the role of having to be the dominant, assertive person, that's sort of my like my pushback on that. Like if I'm going to be the dominant, assertive one, then you need to tell me that this is what you want. Then because I don't
Mhm.
want to be in this spot all the time. I want you to be more aggressive and more of the dominant one. So it's I want to share that responsibility, and I can't think of a better
Yeah.
way to enforce a sharing of that responsibility.
Well, I'm
All the
not thinking of I'm not thinking of like a BDSM kind of thing. I'm just thinking like going in for a first kiss. For
Yeah,
me, like I'll go for it, and then I might not even reach the lips, or like I might ask permission. But like sometimes I don't. But like I just feel it out with like watching them. Like sometimes I remember like, kissing a girl on the cheek, and then she looked at me, and then we kissed. Like so that was like my test.
that was you asking for
Um,
permission.
yeah, exactly. But not with words. So
Yeah, I think that when I ask it is empowering because it puts both of us in the same spot. Um, Whereas instead of like both of us wondering like what's going to happen or like where the other person's at, like I'm telling you where I'm at. And now you have to tell me where you're at instead of playing like weird games with me.
mhm.
I think this might actually be a product of my resentment of the what's the fucking word? Of like the situation that people are in when they're dating. Or like
Dynamic.
on that first date. Yeah, of the dynamic. Yeah, I really do resent it. I really wish that I guess I never feel like I'm in a position to give hints. Not that I'm a fan of them anyways, but I wouldn't I don't think that if a guy drops hints, I don't think that it matters. Um it's just going to be taken as like well it's not her hint, so it's just not really relevant.
Yeah, dropping hints doesn't matter because um women often are so bad at setting boundaries in the first place that a hint is not nearly enough for them to set a boundary. Like I often have to set boundaries for women myself, and coming into my sexuality and during the Me Too movement, I was doing a lot of fucking caretaking, setting boundaries for women, being super careful. And now I've settled on if a woman cannot set her own boundaries, she cannot get the dick. Like get the fuck out. Like I'm not playing this game. I don't have fun doing this. I mean, I can't get hard doing it. So yeah.
Sure. I actually had a big problem with that. I no longer So like setting boundaries for somebody else is an imagining their boundary and abiding by the boundary that you imagine. Yeah.
Well, no,
Then what do you mean?
it's like so they like they're not gonna say it themselves. So every single thing I do is kind of like, well, do you want your boundary to be here? Do you want your boundary to be here? Do you want you to? But like you said we should go this far, but are you really sure? Like, because I tried it and you seemed to, so maybe we should pull the boundary. Let's pull the boundary back for you. Let's move that around, and we'll kind of, I'm just like the whole time it's like, like
Yeah, that
like
sounds like you're imagining where their boundary is for them.
I'm
Like, because
testing
they're
and I'm trying to get feedback, and I'm setting them like, so I'm holding myself back a lot, and I'm really not paying attention to myself the whole time. I guess you could say imagining, but I think I'm observing.
well, sure, yeah, you're imagining based on your observations. I don't mean to load that up with like you have no clue what's going on. Um, yeah, I had a big problem with that, and now I don't, I don't, I don't respect boundaries that I'm not to be made aware of. Uh, you have to tell me. Otherwise, I've gotten to the point now where if somebody doesn't tell me they don't like something, I'm not going to pretend like I know that they don't. Thank you for the follow, Will.
Hmm.
Um, because then what you're saying, like you're not paying attention to yourself, and I think I've come to the point where I value my experiences. You can tell your best joke. I have value the experiences that I'm having in these situations, and I don't want them to just be about the other person. And it makes me a little bit mad that it's taken this long for me to come to this because it really doesn't have to be that way for anybody.
Yeah.
Do you still do that?
No, I told you, like if a woman can't set her own boundaries, I just don't fuck with her at all. I just don't like it. And beyond that, that's the bare bone. Like, but like I only rarely get to experience the pleasure of setting a boundary myself because there's so little coming in this direction towards me. It's all coming from me in that direction. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
And
do.
I really enjoy that experience of getting the sweet opportunity to set a boundary um from their actions and their, yeah.
I noticed too that when I since I've gotten better at setting and holding boundaries with women that they take it personally a lot.
Yeah.
Um and it sometimes it feels like when you do that too, the reaction that you get sort of makes it feel like you're doing something wrong. And I think it's important to remind yourself that what you're doing is correct because uh I think it's hard to set boundaries with somebody that you're emotionally or sexually interested in to begin with. And then if you get like some kind of weird pushback, it's very hard to not go, well, what's wrong with me then? Why am
Oh
I,
yeah, women love to make you feel like there's something wrong with you during sex. Yeah.
um, I, I,
Like
I
like
don't know if
like
that's, it feels like a defensive thing. Because they don't want to
well
feel like there's something wrong with them, so they put it onto you.
the whole experience is on your shoulders. You're supposed to make them come, you're supposed to make yourself come. You're supposed to get hard. You're supposed to take care of their boundaries. You're supposed to, you know, my boundary is like, if you make me feel uncomfortable for not getting hard, then like you're the problem and you're why I'm not, you're right. You're absolutely right. You're fucking bullshit that you're putting on me. Like, oh, like why aren't you hard, huh? That's why I'm not hard. So bye. Either you can like just get over it, or like go away.
Yeah, I think that's why when I was younger, I preferred older women. When I was 22, I married a 39-year-old woman.
Mm.
I never really had to guess what was up, and I think the first time her and I had sex was because like I grabbed her ass and she was like, "Don't start something you're not willing to finish." And I was like, "All right." And then it was like right
Mm.
there in the kitchen. That was while not being like wholly explicit, that was very it was very very clear to me what was going on. Um, and I never really had that with anybody who was like my age. Because
Hmm.
she was, as you described, she was a person who knew what she wanted. Um, and so I really didn't have any like I never had to feel like I had any hangups or like there was anything like weird going on. If she wanted to have sex, it was very much clear that she wanted to have sex.
Hmm.
Whereas when I was in my early 20s, any of the women my age would just kind of be like, um, wait for it to happen. Like all you really
You
get
know
is
what?
like pressing their butt into you while you're trying to sleep, kind of deal.
Something I've experienced a lot, which I think goes against what we believe to be true, is women in relationships actually seem to want sex a lot more than I do.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And like we pretend like it's like the other way around, but also like the fact like the boner thing, it just goes so deep because like to because to be that dildo for her, you have
Mm-hmm.
to kind of relinquish. Look, women can jerk off all they can fucking masturbate all they want and still perform for you. But like you if you want to have like the healthy boners for her and everything, then you're gonna have to like sacrifice your intimate time with yourself just so that you can please her, just so you can get hard more, you know, be ready.
Sure. Yeah, I kind of understand that. Uh,
I like
yeah,
jerking
I know
off.
what you mean.
I get a lot of I really enjoy jerking off. There's this thing. It's like I could write a book about it, like a cult, sex cult book, but or like there's like y- jerking off like more than like 3 times in a day. It's diminishing returns. But
True.
if you really focus though, the fourth time and the fifth time, you can get off. And the now what the distinguishing factor is any anxiety or any stress or any distractions that you have. Um, that's the thing that gets between you and getting there, and you can clear your mind and then you can actually get there pretty quick and you can get there pretty strong, and it becomes like a self you're now analyzing your own self and trying to heal yourself actively, and that has been a very healing thing for me. And if I'm in a committed relationship with a woman that wants to use me as a dildo all the time, I'm never going to do that. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I don't like that. When I was with my ex-wife, one time she was drunk and she came out of the kitchen and said, "I want some dick," and I've never wanted to give somebody my dick less in my life. It was like for somebody who was always very upfront and like very like very obvious to me, communicated very well when they wanted to have sex. I was just like, you don't want to have like a like we're not if I have sex with you right now, we're not having like a connection between us at all. You're literally just wanting to use me as a dildo, and I don't think I want to do that. And I told her no. She got big
mhm,
mad. She was real pissed. But I didn't.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
Um.
you know what I would actually appreciate though? This would solve the whole thing, and not the whole thing, but this would solve a lot. If I don't know, tell me if I'm right. If in that case,
mhm.
if she answered you by saying, "Yeah, I want to use you as a dildo. I really do." Like if she admitted it and owned it, that would be hot.
Yeah,
Right?
probably. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it was
Yeah.
just very like it was almost like a mean demand. Like she was angry that it wasn't. I don't know. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But if she turned it into something more like sexual, something more exciting, like a scenario, then yeah, it would have been fine. But it just really wasn't like that.
Yeah.
Because I think I'm the kind of person I can in a sexual situation I can probably make anything sexy for me. I can take
Well,
an angle.
I feel like it's always that. Oh yeah, I definitely can relate to that. But I feel like it's like even if she wants to use you as a sex object, she wants to frame it as you using her as a sex object. So like a woman often can't admit to you and to herself that she is objectifying you and wants you for her physical pleasure. She's like, take me, like,
Uh,
and
yeah, that was probably some of the context to it because sometimes she would get mad if like if it like on the fifth time of asking, I was like, I don't really think I can right now. We just had sex like 3 times in the last 2 hours. She'd be like, well, you're 22. You should be ready to go like that. So I think that had a lot of context too when she was just like, I want some dick. And I was just like, no, I don't think I want to. This isn't,
yeah,
um, it wasn't, good.
I want a woman to be like, I want some dick, but she has to be like, uh, she can't be like, I want some dick and I want you to emotionally take care of me while you do it. It's like, I want some dick and like, I'm gonna, if you're gonna have that attitude, you have to fucking really be in control of the whole scenario. Like, she's in charge of herself coming and me coming in that scenario, just like the man is usually in. Because
Yeah.
it usually is the case is I want some dick means you're gonna have to make me come and you're gonna have to make yourself come, even though you didn't want to come and you didn't want to make me come. So if you want to have that attitude with me, just be like, I'm gonna make myself come and I'm gonna make you come, like, and so like, okay, I'm down. I'll just lay here, like yeah.
Yeah, there was, one of mine and my wife's exes, we had sex like 3 times together, and then one time, no, 2 times together, and then I had sex both of them once on their own during the day, and on the third time together, I was just like, I don't think it's happening, and she was like, no, no, no. She's like, she like took it as a challenge. She's like, I'm gonna make sure that you come this time, like, cause I was like, I just think it's not happening here. Like I tried the fifth time, and she fucking blood, sweat, and tears that fucking orgasm out of me. And like I appreciate it. That was cool.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool, which is a lot different than the sort of like selfish, like you take care of yourself way of expressing it that my ex wife had. And I was like, fuck. I
Yeah.
guess if you want to fucking put the kind of effort into it, like I was just like, I don't think I can do this. She's like, but I can do this. Like, all right.
Mhm.
That's when the 5 times can happen, I guess.
Well, I mean, not 5 times with another person. For me, it's that could only happen alone.
Oh, this happened with another person, and I was very dead for the rest of the
Ooh.
day. Like I said, it was that was the third time with both of them together, and then I had like one sexual interaction with both of them individually throughout that day. So I was really running on fumes, man.
All right, I
I
got one more thing. Sorry, I just interrupted you.
No,
I got
no,
another
that was
thought.
the end. You're good.
Okay, I got one more thing that I can think of, and then my I'm drained. Um,
Okay.
Another experience that I think men have that goes sort of unspoken is something that women talk about and are okay talking about. But I've experienced something along the lines of like overstimulation or also like lack of interest. So like I remember like a woman, she like obviously she had some kind of technique for a blowjob, but like she used her like lips and suction and it was really stimulating. But like I wasn't into her. And so like it felt really strong because I wasn't into her and I was like, I have to pull back. Um Men can get that overstimulation or lack of interest. I think it's a combination of overstimulation and lack of interest. And it like just felt like a pain because it felt like physical pain because I wasn't interested in her.
Um, I might have had something akin to that. Uh, I guess why were you in this situation if you weren't interested in her? Maybe that'll help me understand.
Okay. Oh, okay. Well, this story starts on Tinder. This story starts on Tinder, and there's this pretty Asian girl
Uh-huh.
that I matched with on Tinder, and I show up and I like looking around, like I see some uh way different looking and much less pretty and much like very different, less pretty girl that she's Asian. And I'm like, that's obviously not the same girl. Lo and behold, it turns out that, oh yeah, I Google Asian girl and I picked the first result and then I used that.
Oh.
Um, but I didn't really know. how to like deal with that. And I was like, oh, okay. Um, okay. And then it just kept playing it along like the rest of my Tinder dates because I didn't know that's where I was learning how to
Sure.
fucking talk to women. And so she absolutely, it was very rapey. Because I was not really actively consenting. I just was zombie mode. And yeah, it got all the way into the bedroom. It got all the way into that. And I mean, she didn't tell me. I was the one who made all the moves because I was doing everything I always did. Um, but yeah, she tricked me, and I wasn't comfortable setting a boundary there and saying no and stuff. So yeah, that's why
I
that
see.
happened.
Um, huh. That maybe it's not too similar. I I hooked up with this chick like maybe like 20 times, and like we had a cool thing going, and then we decided to date each other. And over the course of 2 weeks, it was like maybe like 20 times over the course of like 2 weeks that we hooked up, and then like we dated, and for like maybe like a week or two, we had sex like two times. So I realized I didn't really like her as a person. We were just good at sex with each other. And then when I felt like I had like when there was like emotional expectations, like I don't think I can do this. We're not compatible. She said something that just sort of made me be like, we can't actually date. Her friend and I were watching a documentary, and she's like, I hate learning. And I just sort of like realized like, you and I are good for each other if we just want to have sex, but we can't have a relationship. We are vastly different people, and I think it just turned me off. Like when there was the emotional element, we couldn't sleep together anymore. And when we broke up, then it was like, okay, we can sleep with each other again. And I never really had that before. I thought that's maybe where you were going with it.
No,
Um,
this girl, there's a little bit more. She was about her visa for school because she was from China. And her visa for school was ending, and she had just broken up with her boyfriend, which was going to be her kind of way of staying. And so she also had a high pressure on herself to kind of get into another relationship. Um,
oh,
she really put that all on me. Um, yeah.
that's a lot for a first date.
Yeah, she stayed the night. We cooked. One thing I really hated about her is that um, she's from China, but she was so unadventurous. Like where we were in Boston, where you can get great food from anywhere in the world at your
Mhm.
fingertips, and she was absolutely not down for any food except Chinese food. Like not like quote unquote Chinese food, but like food like from China that
Oh,
like from
sure.
Chinese. Yeah, like so like it's like if we could have anything.
Yeah,
And like that's you won't eat anything but the thing from like that you're used to from the place. Like that's just like that was like what the fuck? Like I want to show you like I want to show you like the world of flavors, you know, but like it's I've had that before too and then whatever.
that's pretty weird. So, since I'm vegan, food is like a big point of interest for me. Whenever I go to even a new city, I'm always very, very interested. Like, what do they have? Like, what are the restaurants that I can eat at? Like, I'm very excited to try something new. Yeah, I think that would be. I think that would drain the interest factor off of somebody pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so it's I don't know. I think that there's some similar elements there where like you felt like a break of connection at some point, and it just made
A
things a
lot of
lot
them.
less interesting.
I mean
Yeah.
from the first moment.
Yeah, well not only that too, you started off where as soon as you met the person you're like, "Oh, the first piece of information you got about her is that
Yeah.
she's a liar."
Yeah.
That would be that's like the biggest turn off for me. When I have any kind of any kind of intimacy that I can have from somebody is like destroyed by dishonesty. Because I think
Yeah.
that's what intimacy is. Intimacy is like the highest degree of honesty, right?
And she had such a like fake prudishness that she was absolutely slutty. She wanted it so bad. But I kept making the moves like I always did. And I was like, "So do you want to hold hands?" And she's like, "I do." But she like had like she was like very like she was showing like lots of signs that like she didn't want it, but she wanted to fuck. And like so like the me asking to hold hands like was like because she had given me so many signs that she didn't want to fuck, but she it was like I don't know, it's just I don't know, very off-putting. That's all I
Uh,
got. That's all I got
yeah.
for right now. I probably could go on, but
I guess um I guess we can wrap this up. Do you mind if I wrap it up with a story about how yeah, do you mind if I wrap it up with a story then?
right on, brother.
So when I was younger, I really thought that like that was the only thing I really had going for myself. It's my sexuality because I would I had a lot of poor luck living in the rural area that I lived in with like work and all that, and I had a hard time finding a place to stay. So I often ended up staying with women when they'd invite me over and I would stay the night and not have sex with them. Like it would just be like, no, it's not gonna happen on the first night. And then the next day, uh, I would like bring my A game, and then on the third day, they just be like, "You can just stay here." So I really got an understanding that my sexuality was like the only thing that I had of value to me, uh, to anybody, because like I couldn't get work. It was like the only thing that like kept me off the streets essentially. And I think it really messed up my brain when it came to that stuff. And
Really
I think that oh yeah, it was uh
sounds kind of
my
cool.
20s were well, it felt cool to me then, but when I look back at it now, it bums me out. Um See, yeah, when it's happening, like I think it's really easy for it to like feed into your ego and make you feel like a super cool guy that like um I pay the rent with this dick kind of mentality.
Well, yeah,
But
so I had a slightly similar experience, except I never did that, but I had a sex calendar. I had a hookup calendar, and because I was so successful on Tinder, and I just was like figuring this shit out, and this was like I was so immersed in this process, and I had a calendar, and I was like, I'm spending money doing this, and I'm making no money doing this, and I'm like, how can I turn this into a job? Because it sure feels like a job. So I feel like I wished I did do what you were doing, but I didn't.
I did two times in my life. I was paid for sex by women that I already had sex with. One time I really didn't want to, and one time I did want to. But the time I didn't want to, I didn't have any food and my heat was off. So I right afterwards I went and I bought food with it. Um,
Mm.
and it was not. I wasn't. The first time I was like proud of myself and like this is cool, and the second time I was like, this sucked. But I have food. Um, so I think that there's a lot of I guess a lot of the things that I thought that were like really good and positive about my sexuality when I was younger, I just feel like were they just sort of bummed me out now, and I'm really glad that you're somebody who's having open, honest conversations about male sexuality because I think it's very confusing when you're young because nobody talks about it, and I hope that you keep having conversations about it because there's going to be somebody out there who gets
Yeah.
a better
I hope
idea
that
of what is okay.
young men that are absolutely over the age of 18 and nobody under the age of 18 ever watches me stream.
Uh, yeah, I think it's an important conversation to have, and even just having the conversation alone lets other people know that it's okay to have the conversation because there's nobody. I don't think anything bad's going to happen from this conversation. I hope that we're setting an example that you can just talk about yourself and your sexuality and your sexual experiences without it being something bad, without it being a competition,
No, no,
and
what we
without it being
need,
something to be ashamed of.
but the thing that would heal it more is if you were talking to me and I was a woman. Imagine how much more profound that would be. Or like if yeah, to
Yeah.
for a woman to be asking you questions about this and like trying to learn, because I think that men need to learn these lessons too. But women need to learn these lessons so they can like it's not that the men need to learn the lessons alone in isolation. The women when okay, with like the gym story of don't look at women in the gym. You're telling men not to do that, but you're also telling women that if men look at you in the gym, they're disgusting. So you're not just telling men something, you're also telling the women another thing. So
Yes.
yeah, I think it's both sides need to hear it, that kind of thing, and that we need that interest from both sides. Women don't have that interest. There's no reason for them to have it.
That makes a lot of sense. And I know like you said you're like drained out. I just want to point out something that you said that I think is important. You said that imagine if you were a woman and we were having this conversation. I think that when I told my girlfriend I was going to do this stream, said I think it's interesting and important because men don't talk to each other honestly about their sexuality, and they sure as fuck don't talk to women honestly about their sexuality. So I think that this conversation is valuable, but there's even more value if men talk to women openly about their sexuality because I think that loads even more stupid bullshit onto the conversation that keeps it from being honest and open. And
Yeah, I want to
I
hear
hate it.
I want to hear the questions a woman has for me, or like, I want to have that back and forth sort of thing. It I
It would be
mean,
good. I'd watch it.
it's the prelude to sex, basically, I guess. But I have
Um, if it yeah, but when it's the prelude to sex, I think that there's that's when it's the least valuable though because that's when like you're already in it like the guard's already dropped, you're already ready to be intimate. So there's not going to be so much learning. It's more or less like we're trying to get to the
I don't
goal
know.
here.
It could be learning, like the true intimacy, to true sexual heterosexual man woman intimacy conversation. I don't think those happen in public a lot.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what I mean. If it was a public conversation with women, like obviously you have to have some conversation about your sexuality before you have sex. Well, I guess you don't have to, but it's pretty common then. Even if there's some shit loaded onto it and it's not as honest as it could be, I think that a conversation like you and I just had between a man and a woman would
Mhm.
be very very valuable, especially if it's well like it's like ours because I think that this was very open and honest.
I early on, like first like three streams I ever did, I had this idea in my head. If I'm ever like flirting with a woman, then my rule is she can never come on my stream. That's obviously a good rule, I think, for me. I think it's a safe rule. But then I had this epiphany, but I've changed my mind since, okay? My epiphany was, but what if I found a woman that I was like we got like sexual with? But I could have her on my stream, but only to talk about the fact that we're having like to have that sexual discussion on the stream and nothing else. There's no like that's the only but like I don't know. I think that would still be inappropriate.
Well, I'm going to be
It's not
breaking your
it's
rule in the
unethical.
future. Well, what do you think of this? I'm gonna have my girlfriend on stream, who I've definitely had sex with, and I'm gonna stream her reaction to the doll review, and then her and I are gonna talk about the doll review.
That doesn't seem unethical.
Okay.
Maybe unethical is just assumed optically, and I had this discussion briefly with All Relevant. But if I'm single and I'm dating people that I meet through being a socialite online, then optically everything I do with any of these people, unless incredibly protected, self-protective of myself, is going to look like someone can spin it as abuse. And
Yes,
so that I think it's actually not inherently abusive, but it could be, and it's hard to differentiate. So yeah.
I think the difference is that there's already an established relationship that's ongoing with this person for me. Like she's my girlfriend. She's not like
Yeah,
gonna gain anything by doing this. If anything, the watching the
yeah.
doll with me will be a little bit uncomfortable for her, I assume.
It sounds like a good stream.
Thank you. I wish I would have streamed the conversations my wife and I had for 2 weeks about it. Because it was quite the
Yeah.
back and forth. We had quite the conversations about it.
Oh my God, this has infected my brain. Like talking to my friends and shit. Like I got this new fucking camera, and I'm like hanging out with them, and I'm like, well, first of all, my friends don't want to be filmed. Uh,
Yeah,
but like, but there was a period where my friends weren't not wanting to be filmed, and I was like, whenever I turned the camera off, we would have like a good conversation, and I was like, no, wait. But yeah, yeah.
yeah. The best conversations aren't streamed, unfortunately. Those are the good real life ones. I had a
Between
3 hour
me and
argument
you,
about the word sauce before. I was man, that would have been fun to have recorded.
yeah.
Between me and you, what?
But this like I think if streamers get used to it and they can do it. Like my friend, one of my things, my friend was saying that Panera bread is like hospital food, and the inside even looks like a hospital. And we went there and we were doing a Panera bread review. And yeah, it was great. I think I'm gonna keep one bit that I did a review of the cup, and like pop in the top, the bubbles on the top.
Yeah,
It was a very good performance, but aside from that, I'm not putting my friends in my video.
yeah, I understand. Um, Red Bull. Uh oh. Somebody. I just out of respect to this chatter, they wanted to tell their best joke. Says,
Okay.
"I'll be back." He says, "I'll be back." This is an impression of Arnold Schwarzenegger if he were an elevator repairman going into building, seeing an elevator between floors, just realizing he doesn't have the right equipment. They asked if they could tell their best joke, so I figured I'd read it for them. Uh, good, bad joke.
I don't get it.
William Montgomery, because he'll be back. He's gonna leave and go get the right shit to fix the elevator. I think it's one of those like bad on purpose jokes, I believe.
I think this is a good starting place.
Um, Smeth, I really value what you're doing. I appreciate you uh being willing to have this conversation with me. It feels like you have micro versions of this conversation a lot throughout your streams, and
Yeah.
I support it. I didn't know before I watched them that I was going to enjoy your streams so much, and I do. I
Well,
think your
thank you.
streams are really good. Yeah, you're welcome. The yours and Tuna's was really good, and then I watched most of yours and Aaron's, and I watched all of it with the cancer researcher. They're
Yeah, that was really
phenomenal.
good. Your streams are good too. You've been like growing a lot too. Like my first streams, like I was really bad at talking. I think both of us have gotten good at talking on stream and having these conversations for sure.
Yeah, there's like a level of having to get comfortable with it,
Yeah.
and I thank you very much for the kind words, and I really look forward to seeing what you do in the future. I think since you brought it up though, I think that when you're on like a panel or something, you
Hmm.
should you should let people be less dismissive of you. I got really frustrated when I watched you on Wix panel and you would say something and people would be like, yeah, okay. And then they would just like turn and be like, hey, fuck you, I just said something. Don't yeah, okay
Yeah.
me.
People
You
making
can respond what I
faces.
said. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
think
Like I would say stuff, and then people like every face would like be a different version of eye rolling.
Yeah, and
I
I feel like
hated
that
that.
only happens because like you're a Mr. Girl orbiter. You know what I mean? I feel
Really?
like uh they don't know anything else about you.
I
That
guess.
these
Yeah.
people aren't these people aren't watching your streams. They're not in the Discord. They don't know what your deal is. So they're just sort of dismissing you based on a preconceived notion they had. And I wish I was watching it live so I could have talked shit about it. And I was just like, you know what? You don't know anything about him. And it could have been anybody else too who they didn't know about. And I'd have been pissed. Like, you can at least respond to what he's fucking saying. If you want to roll your eyes, tell me why you're rolling your eyes then. Tell me
Hot
what
Chip
it
rolls his eyes,
is.
but I like him. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I forgive anybody that rolls their eyes at me. Did I say Hot Chip? I said Tune Chip.
Oh,
Hot Chip
tuna
is
chip?
someone else. Yeah.
Uh, Tuna, but then
But
Tuna will explain why his eyes were rolled.
yeah, I love Tuna Chip.
The other people were rolling their eyes and then ignoring what the fuck you said. And boy, I tell you, that pissed me off. And I think that you should be less nice when people are that dismissive of you because it just lets them do it again. If I ever see that live, I'll call that shit out because that made me really mad. I didn't have to agree with the
Really,
thing that you said to think that they should have just sort of blew you off. Yeah.
the whole panel thing is so weird. Uh, it's good and weird. But, like it's good because it's like good networking and good like growth sort of thing because you're like reaching new people and you're networking with new people. Um, it's like a lot of weird pressures and it's like hard to like get like your whole thing out. Um, like it's really common in those kind of panels to like not even like like get to say like what you think until like the end, you
Yeah, it
know.
took me a while to feel comfortable because like people would interrupt me and stuff. And that's why it's the only reason I guess I felt comfortable saying like I have a piece of advice for you because I've really gotten a lot better at like not letting people like steamroll over me. Um
Hmm.
it usually it's because they feel like what they have to say is so important that what I say doesn't matter. But and maybe since I'm just sort of now getting comfortable and understanding how to navigate it, it made me extra mad on your behalf. But you have interesting points to make, and even if what you're saying isn't correct or you're wrong or whatever, you're there for people to tell you why you're wrong then.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And you're not there for people to dismiss you and blow you off. Fuck that shit. Uh, I will never not stick up for you in live chat if I ever see that.
All right. Well, I'll have to stick up for you too then. Blood brothers.
I appreciate that. Well, I know I kept you way longer than I should have. After you said you were good to go. It's a Midwest thing, I guess. Goodbyes take a half hour. You have a good night, Smeth, and
Have a good
look
night,
forward
Elder.
to talking to you in the future.
Elder Drazi on Twitch.
Yeah, and oh yeah, you can find Smeth on YouTube under Real Smeth, and
Hmm.
I think Twitter is also the Real
Real
Smeth.
Smith.
Oh, it's
It's
just
just
Real Smith.
real Smith. Yeah.
Yeah, check them out. I didn't for a while, and I kind of regret it. I was too busy to take a peek, and I've never put on his streams and not watched at least almost all of it. So check him out. All right, have a good night, Smeth.
You too.
Smeth will have to grow in his self. Oh, his self. Uh, yeah. Well, that's what we're all trying to do, right? Uh, if anybody is interested. Oh wait, Smeth's not in my Discord. Shit, I was just trying to get a copy for streams. If you're interested, you can join the Discord. You can also like the stream or follow me on Twitch. That's always cool too. Um, I gotta like Smith's stream. All right, I'm gonna get out of here. I gotta visit with my wife a little bit before she goes. Um, February I'll have a schedule, a set schedule. This is when I'm gonna be streaming. This is what I'm gonna be doing. That kind of thing. Uh, that's okay for that one to be shown. That's just my Discord. So, all right, I'm gonna get out of here and see my wife before she goes to bed. Um, I don't know if I am or not, but I'm probably gonna stream tomorrow. I'm gonna keep it a little bit more consistent. I was supposed to stream a little bit more this week, but I had some things like not line up right and all that. But I'm working on it, and I'm still trying to put out this vasectomy video. You would love to join me on my next show? Well, okay. Click that link right above your message. Join the Discord and PM me and let me know what you want to talk about. And if it's good, if it's a thing that I want to talk about, which I'm pretty open to talking about, whatever. Yeah, we can do it up. Let's see. Oh, I can't like click your profile or anything to see what's up. Did let's see. Go to channel. Let's see who you are. There's no information about you other than you joined YouTube in May 2019. So yeah, join the Discord because it's a link right above your last message, Big C, and we'll talk about it. Probably not have any issues having a conversation with you. I'd be more than happy. Uh, oh, are you? Uh, who are you in my Discord? I don't see you. A Smeth joined the Discord. Okay, then I don't know who you are in my Discord. So just shoot me a message and we'll set something up. All right, I'm out of here. I look forward to talking to you, Big C, and yeah, I'll be back almost certainly tomorrow. Peace out.